game, is it? It's LA Knight's game.
Yo, welcome. No, that's not what I say. Yo, what's poppin', all my peeps? It is I, your host with the most, Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the yard of streams for another edition of Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And you can't have, Pitts and Sarah's Wrestling Show without the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello to the people. I want to make sure we say, okay, stop. Hello to David. Hello to Quan. Welcome to Quan. I don't think I've ever seen you. So welcome. Yeah, welcome. And hey, what's up, Bernard?
The dog. We got all the dogs in the house. It's awesome. Feeling good. It's been a busy day, Sarah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a very busy day.
Yeah.
With not only work stuff, your work stuff, my work stuff, but news. All right. Like some crazy shit popped off on the internet today. Some crazy shit popped off on the internet yesterday. And we're only going to talk about one of those things today at some point. Okay, only one. All right, that's all I'm going to allude to it. All right, sometimes there's a time and a place for everything to speak on stuff. We ain't that. That's all I'm going to leave it at. All right, let's just stick to keep moving forward. Okay, let's just keep moving forward. And talk about that stuff. We're doing a little bit of a different show today, okay? Because it is the Thursday show. We got my favorite event in wrestling history on Saturday with the Royal Rumble. We got to predict stuff. All right, we got to predict stuff. So we're combining episodes a little bit. Instead of doing our own individual lemons and rosebuds, we're just going to dump it into a pot, stir it up, and then cook it for you guys. All right, that's what we're going to do. And then, obviously, giving our Rumble predictions. And then the show concluding with the 1, 2, 3 count. We get the Rumble pool to focus on. All right, we got to get our numbers, Sarah, as well. Not only these superstars got to get the numbers, we got to get our numbers, too. So we got a busy show today. You excited?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Any more energy?
It's like that 5 o'clock feeling, where it's like, when you get that like tired, overwhelming feeling, but it's fine. I'll wake up. I'll get there.
We're gonna wake up. All right. Maybe you should take some Alpha Brain. No free ads, but like
Roman's in a match, silly goose. He
boom roasted.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I understand, like, but yes, he's actually in a match, so he has to work at least a little bit.
Crazy that our WWE undisputed
the
Universal Champion has to work.
Well, the fact that we have to even ask the question, that just tells you everything about his recent run, Yeah,
exactly. I mean, you would think that Seth had a match at the Royal Rumble, when you have to think the complete opposite. Like, oh wait, he was working too much and got hurt. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting right now, and you may like it, you may not. Well, let's talk about stuff that you may like and may not with the lemon and rosebud, baby.
What?
I said the lemon and rosebud, baby.
Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud.
Totally accidental, by the way. That was totally accidental. But yeah, let's just kind of have a little bit of a sesh with the rosebuds and lemons of the week, because I'm not gonna lie, the only thing I've been really focusing on all week has been the Royal Rumble. WWE, their YouTube channel, has had a live stream since I think the 21st, whenever that was, Tuesday, I think. Live streaming every single Rumble match in its entirety. So I've been kind of having that on one screen, and then just kind of keeping up with the product, obviously, because we have the show. So I'd rather just talk about what we like this week. So How about you start us off, Sarah?
Well, I want to talk about this news about LA Knight. And I wanted to talk about it because I like that Shawn Michaels stood up for LA Knight when he was in NXT. So Wrestle Purists posted this, just like a snippet of an interview that HBK did with ESPN, and he revealed that LA Knight was on the cut list multiple times when he was in NXT, and that Shawn would say that he couldn't be released. Like every time it was brought up, it was like, no, he can't be released because he's in an active storyline. He can't be released. Like he's too involved in this and that. And fortunately, it worked because it didn't happen. And of course, like it had been speculated, Vince had the issue with his age, which I just think is so wild because I'm like, you've brought back so many other stars that were like not much younger or around the same age. Like, you know, if Vince was around, I wouldn't be surprised if he did bring back CM Punk. CM Punk's 45 years old. Like, you cannot tell me that like you wouldn't have done that, or like why do you still have Bobby Lashley around? It's because he doesn't look like he's his age. So it's like it's such a silly thing. So there is a quote here that he said, when people say a WWE guy or a Vince guy, he was effing it. I was trying to tell them, lose the 3-8. He never looked to me like he had any mileage on him. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Shawn Michaels because obviously he's a good evaluator of talent and could understand that age was not a factor when it came to LA Knight. And of course, that's just ridiculous anyway, because throughout the history of wrestling, guys have gotten into WWE, especially at that age where they were like closer to 40. I mean, they were having Ric Flair wrestle matches when he was 50 something years old. Like, stop telling, like, I mean, I get like it's a little bit different, but like, let's not say, oh, once you hit a certain age, you know, you can't be a performer because of your age. Like, that's not a thing. So I'm just really glad to hear that, you know, other than what we believed was like, okay, no, it was like his work ethic and all of this and like his attitude and his willingness to do whatever it took to stay with the company. Like, it wasn't just that, like he did have internal support, which I think is cool because and the fact that Vince listened to it, I think says a lot too, you know, even if he did mess him up by making him Max Dupree, but
you at least listen to it. That's all you can do. He did screw it up because Vince did not have a hand on the pulse. And the current state of wrestling, really, and we can kind of expand this to just professional sports in general, that age doesn't really matter. Okay. It's just a number. It's all about really how healthy and ready to go you are and how well you look, how well you train, all of that. There's no restriction like it was years ago. I mean, the Bobby Lashley is the best example.
Well, there's even others though. Randy Orton is still up there. Damian Priest didn't get
Damian Priest is in
push
his
until
mid-40s.
No, I think he's just like 40, 41. But still, like, he didn't get a push until he was nearly 40. Finn Balor is finally getting like the amount of time that he should be, and he's 45. Like, AJ Styles is still up there, and no one's sitting there. Rey Mysterio, you know, like, no one's sitting there and being like, oh, these dudes all look their age. They shouldn't be around. They should be fired. No one's saying that. And if anybody had said to you, like, when you first saw LA Knight, that he was 37, 38, 39 years old, you wouldn't believe them. And even then, I think it's like, I think that there's, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, there's these embedded beliefs that I think that we have about certain ages and like what's appropriate, or like someone at this age needs to be in this spot, whereas someone older shouldn't be. Like, it's just in our mind that like once you hit 35, like life is on a decline. You know what I mean? That's like, 35, you can't be an athlete, you got to retire. And it's like, yeah, in certain sports that's true. When it comes to like football, like 35 is old, or basketball, like, yeah, 35 is old, but that's because of the physicality of the sport. And that can be applied to wrestling, but not really, because it's not the same, you know. And so
it's a little different.
someone's 38 and be like, oh, yeah, maybe he's kind of old. And it's like, but it's not. I don't know. It's just not the same. And I'm just glad that Shawn Michaels stood up for him enough that he's still around now.
Yeah, it's so nice to see that. It's just really nice. All right, I'll go with an AEW Rosebud. I'm a huge fan of the Young Bucks' new gimmick where they're leaning into the EVP role
Mhm.
and doing, they're the executives and they should be running the show and the show should run smoothly. We got a tease of it last night and they even teased their eventual match with Sting at Revolution with cutting into his time with Darby Allin. I was watching other stuff, whatnot, so I didn't hear commentary, but I was watching it. So I got to go back tonight, actually, after I record the Patriots podcast, and really watch it to see how it connects. But I like that role that they're going in because you need to lean into that skid. Sometimes it's not good to show that you're the boss, and
Mhm.
other times it works for your gimmick if you're that type of person who will give back and put people over. Or, for in this instance, Sting chose him to be his last match. That's a huge honor. So
Yeah.
you better bring, your best stuff to the table. I'm
Mhm.
a big fan of this because it's exactly how they should the direction they should be going with Kenny gone and obviously Cody. I'm excited. I'm excited for how this is going to turn out.
Good.
What else we got? What
I'm
else we
glad.
got?
Uh
I'm trying to think of some stuff before going to lemon because I don't want to go right into. We
oh,
have
I do have another. Okay,
go.
so there was like a bunch of controversy earlier this week with that article posted by Sports Illustrated.
Oh, I was going to put that with my lemon.
Oh, that he retracted and fixed it?
Yeah, I mean, no, I was gonna. Okay, yes.
Okay.
Um, that was gonna be my lemon. Was the actual article itself? I wasn't gonna.
Oh, I wanted to talk about how he fixed it. Did you not see that?
I did. I was. Okay. Continue. Just continue.
Okay. Okay.
Just go. I'm
So
screwing fingers.
anyway, a guy at Sports Illustrated wrote an article saying that sources close to Triple H had revealed spoilers to him for WrestleMania, and that basically the plans were not to have Cody finish the story this year, and that the plan was to have him go against CM Punk and Gunther to be against Seth Rollins, and everyone was just laughing because they were like, okay, well, first of all, people's initial reactions were like, okay, this is messed up. Like, no one, like, even though those matches both would be great, like, that doesn't make sense. But then they're also coming for the guy because it was like you watch one episode of Raw and then decide, like, this is what's going to
Yeah.
happen at Mania. So that's been kind of like cooking over the last few days, but he put out a retraction today. So that's why I think it's a rosebud, because this is like the
Okay.
first time I feel like I've ever seen something like this where um a lot of people, no matter what they're covering, um if they do something wrong or they report false information, they don't come out and kind of like walk with their, the tail between their
Tail
legs.
wagging
Like,
legs.
they
Yeah.
don't admit that they had false information told to them. Like, so I liked that he owned up to the fact that someone that he thought was a reliable source was not, and seemed to have fed him wrong information, and apologize for publishing that information. So I thought that was cool because, especially in the wrestling sphere of things, there's a lot of people out there who claim to be insiders, and they'll just put things out there and claim, well, a source told me. And if it ends up being wrong, they don't even address it. They just like move on and like start saying the next thing that they're claiming is a
Mhm.
spoiler. So I thought it was nice because that article was being talked about a lot. Like, it even got sent to me today by somebody who I talk wrestling with sometimes, and he was like, "Do you think this is true?" I'm like, "No."
Not a
No.
chance. I texted you
No.
immediately when I
Mhm.
saw the news, and I'm like, "There's no way, right?" Because we literally talked about it. Go check it out in the archive. Shameless plug. That it legitimately felt like someone, as you just said, watch Raw and
Mhm.
then put on this massive lie that they were inside sources to Triple H and whatnot. It
Yeah.
was so wild because it makes no sense. It made no sense. They don't think of the bigger picture of it.
Well, what I was more confused about, I guess, even with his retraction, is that he said that it had been like a reliable source in the past. And so I'm like, okay, is that true? Or is it not true? Like, are you just trying to save your own ass, basically, by saying that? Because it's like, what else have they told you? I mean, I don't know. I mean, he doesn't necessarily have to tell us, but it's like, what else has he told you? And when was it right? Because why all of a sudden do you claim to have a source close to Triple H who has always told you the correct information? And now he's telling you, like, purposely telling you incorrect stuff. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So I wonder if it's like he doesn't actually have legitimate sources and he's just trying to cover it by claiming he did and that they just fed him the wrong stuff, because that just seems weird. Like, why would somebody do that to you for no reason? That just seems weird.
Also, Sports Illustrated just laid off their entire staff too.
I know, but then there's like other branches of Sports Illustrated.
That's what I thought. See, I was thinking about that. I was like, because they just laid off their whole staff. It was a whole thing on Twitter, X, whatever. And then the next day, they're reporting this. It just felt very strange. That was another reason why I'm like, there's no shot.
Yeah.
You know, this wasn't ESPN. This wasn't our guy, our SRS. Like,
well, and I immediately thought, because they had been outed for using AI to write articles, and I'm like, this sounds like an AI written article. Like, the guy put in the results from Raw, you know, and then the article was written and said, oh, according to sources, this is what's going to happen. And it was basically just taking what happened on Raw and saying it was happening on Mania. I was like, if anything was going to be written by AI, it seems like it was that. So
that article is 100% it.
Yeah.
NXT was good. I'm gonna put that as a rosebud. It's just a good product, man. I mean, it really, week in and week out, it tells stories and actually gives you. It's compelling. It's good television, week in and week out, with the whole Trick and Mellow story, and how literally it's just stand and deliver. We might get this. I'm not gonna lie.
I was gonna say maybe we see the final part of like Trick and Mellow at Mania weekends.
If we get to see Trick Mellow at Stand Deliver,
I feel like it has
to. That Trick.
Well, we're gonna see them, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the match. You know what I mean? Because like, I think that they're gonna have, similar to last year, they're gonna have the draft after Mania. So that would be perfect timing, because I would assume that they're gonna have Trick go over, and then Carmelo will come up to Raw or SmackDown. But I feel like that's it. Like, they have like another like 2 months to build this story between them to get to that point where they're now facing off against each other. So I feel like that would be pretty cool.
That'd be very cool. I'm so hyped for that. Also, Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, I'm kind of fine with putting the tag team titles on them.
I like that we're seeing like so two things. Okay, so I like that we're seeing like another side to Braun Breaker again, because I think that it was time for them to turn him heel, because his character was becoming, it was eerily similar to the I'm the big dog, this is my yard. Like, that was like what he was doing. And it was like
very Steiner.
Baby Roman Reigns. Yeah, and it was just like, okay.
Very Steiner.
So then when he became a heel, it was like, yeah, cool. Okay, this is, it's the time, right? And it's the same thing with Baron Corbin. Since he went back down to NXT, it's like what they've been doing with him has been great. Like, it's working for him. Obviously, he's still down there. And now we're seeing like that entertainment part of both of them. And you know that Baron has that in him, because I mean, it's how he became Sad Corbin. You know, it was like because he was so funny and just like so good at it. So I think it's cool that they're going in that direction with them too. It's like they can kick your ass, but like they're actually like kind of funny and entertaining together too. So, and like not serious at the same time, you know, because it's like, what did he say that we're the wolf dogs?
Well, the wolf dog. What?
Yeah.
No. It was we're the wolf dogs, and I was thinking about it in the shower.
Yes. And he was like, you were thinking about me in the shower?
He's like, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. It's like, that's like so old school that like it's like Kurt Angle-esque, you know, like
it was very Kurt Angle-esque. He's like, yeah, I was thinking about you in the shower, and like he's like, whoa, and he's not registering. He's like, but the wolf dogs, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's so it's nice to see two stars like that team up and be that entertaining because they have no business being a tag team, but then you put them together and like that's the magic of NXT.
Yeah.
And magic of HBK booking. Also, shout out, we gotta acknowledge this. Ava Raine, youngest GM in WWE history, becoming the GM of NXT, and also a little rosebud too because you texted me this and then I saw it the next day. William Regal's back on television.
Is there a reason why they have Ava Raine doing GM stuff and not in-ring stuff now? Like, is she injured? Is she like stepping back to train more? Like, is there any sort of explanation?
I haven't
Okay.
heard anything. I feel like I would have
I just wonder because it's like she was, active in a storyline. She had like a few matches, and then it's like, oh, now she's like a backstage role, So I just didn't know if there was a reason for that.
It could. This is a convoluted way, but I could see this being a reason that maybe her in-ring work is fine. I'm not gonna say great, but like fine. But her character development wasn't there. And the easiest way to develop a character is being in a backstage role where you have to be in front of a camera. You don't get a, quote unquote break from the entertainment aspect by actually wrestling and competing where you can also make a name for yourself. This gives her more credibility, gives her more reps at, developing who is Ava Raine. We saw her in Schism.
Yeah.
After the Grizzly Young Veterans, I think their names are. They were released, and then Joe Gacy is now doing Joe Gacy things with Dijak.
Yeah.
Now you have Ava Raine kind of left in the dust, and to be honest, it might be a good thing that she's in this role because the women's division in NXT, it's like a handful of people, and then it's the bottom of the barrel, and you don't want to get caught in the bottom.
Well, and I was gonna say, I'm sure it might be something that maybe she does this until the girls are called up, because I would assume like if there's gonna be NXT girls called up, it's gonna be like Roxanne, it's gonna be Tiffany, like in the draft. I mean, like we might even see Lyra. Like there's a couple that if they moved on, then she would have like more of a prominent spot, to like grow and stuff. So that might be the plan too.
Dijak, him on Twitter. That's another rosebud. Have you been following him?
No, I don't follow him.
He's hilarious. That's a good follow. Good wrestler to follow. All right, let's talk about some bad. All right, we gotta keep the show moving. And bad, I'm saying this. All right, my boy KP did not deserve to be released. It was.
I have a theory.
You have a theory?
I have a theory. So just because it came out of nowhere, basically, I mean, the demotion from commentary didn't seem like it came out of nowhere, but like people expected that. And then we're like, okay, he's just going to have a backstage role, or maybe he's just going to go back to like the pre-shows and whatever. My guess is that maybe he wasn't interested in a demotion. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of wanted to move on. Like, if maybe he ideally wanted to do commentary and they didn't want to continue with that path, and then he probably maybe felt like, okay, if I'm not going to get the chance now, like they're never going to give it to me. And like I really wouldn't be surprised if maybe he just was like, okay, I'm cool with like dipping, because like if I'm going to be in the abyss, basically, like if you don't have a place for me right now, then how do I know that you'll ever have a place for me? And if I want to do commentary but you're never going to let me, then like why am I here? Like I really wouldn't be surprised if like he had some say in it, because of how it's just hard for me to believe that like he's been around for however many years at this point, and obviously he's been trying and he's improved and like he's been doing multiple things, that they would just demote him and then like 2 days later fire him. It feels like there had to have been something else going on, and given how good of a reputation he has and how nice of a guy he is, it seems like he might have had a hand in leaving. That's my theory anyway.
That would make sense. That I do like that, because he wasn't terrible. I'm gonna say he was not bad. He was just very vanilla. He did not bring something to the role that they're looking for. He didn't bring that it factor. Go to a place like MLW or Impact or TNA now. It's called TNA now. And
well,
go
he might not
there.
want to do wrestling anymore either.
And
Maybe he wants to get back into sports.
Yeah,
like,
he did do Big Ten stuff. He had a big role in commentary for the Irish. I don't know if it was Gaelic football or soccer or rugby. It was one of those three sports over there. I looked when we were doing a little bio look up on him. Like, he's a very talented person. Wrestling might not be it. It's not for everybody. It really isn't.
I think part of it is because it's not just like reporting on what's happening. You know, like you have to kind of have a character while you're doing it, and obviously that's something that's not going to come easy to most people, and I'm not even saying it would for me, so I'm not like hating on him or anything, but like it's not just calling the match. Like you have to have personality, and then sometimes you have to take on personality traits to portray yourself in a certain way that's not natural for you or who you are. And he also was put into like a tough position because they put him on commentary and then immediately were like, okay, you're the guy. Like you are the Michael Cole on SmackDown now, which that's a lot, you know, like it's not like I understand why Graves is more like the color commentator, you know, and not the lead guy, but like it might have worked better had they switched roles. Like had Graves maybe taken on the lead voice as opposed to Kevin Patrick, because maybe that would have worked better, because Graves has been doing this for years now. So it's almost like I don't know if they set him up to fail or if they were just banking on his previous experience, but I think that probably just talking about sports where you can just be yourself and you don't have to worry about how you sound, really, that's probably more his alley.
Yeah. And Vanessa Loca here. Every wrestling fan got their wish about Kevin Patrick, and I wouldn't say it's their wish, but they were booing him and trashing him on social media every week for
Yeah.
no reason, and they listened. Like you got what you wished. You did get what you wished for at the end of the day.
There were a lot of them, yeah. Like I saw a lot of people celebrating it, and I felt bad because I was a part of that conversation this week, but I never said I wanted him fired. So like I just felt
we said we didn't want him fired.
Yeah, I just felt bad that I was a part of any of the negativity. Like it was just a pure coincidence that I just was like, oh, this, you know, that I felt like he wasn't good. And then we just talked about it when we were talking about SmackDown. And then all of this happened. Like, obviously, I don't have any inside information, so I didn't know this was going to happen. So I didn't plan it. But yeah, I saw people who were, you know, ha 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 ha. But then there were actually a lot of people that were like, we didn't want him on commentary, but we didn't want him fired.
I saw a lot of that.
Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking that maybe he had more like of a say in this happening. Which, if that's the case, then I applaud him for like chasing what he wants to do and wanting better for himself, because there are plenty of people in WWE, whether they're a wrestler or a backstage interviewer or whatever, and they'll be sitting in catering for months and months and months until they're ultimately released, because it's like, okay, we don't have anything for you, blah, blah, blah. And that might have been his future. You know what I mean? So it's like, you see that, we know about it, you know, like watching certain wrestlers that aren't around or on TV, it's like, okay, you know, they're just not being used. And that could have been his future. And he was like, I don't want that. I'd rather just move on now, go start my career somewhere else and get that going. And I hope that's the case, because it would really suck if he was just outright fired, basically.
Yeah, that would suck. No,
yeah,
that would suck. I just hate to see it, you know,
yeah,
because he was a really nice guy, but
it just wasn't a fit. That's all.
It was not a fit at the end of the day.
At least not now. And that's the thing too, is like we were saying, like he didn't feel ready right now. But it is possible too, because like it sucks, and that's the thing too in life, where it's like you can want something so bad. You can work hard at something and do it, as you know, feel like you're doing the best of your abilities and blah blah blah, and it's just like it's not for you. Like you're just not a good fit for that, no matter how much you want it or how much you've dreamt of it. And it's like a really harsh reality, because you know, maybe it's something you've dreamt about forever, and then you just realize like, okay, actually I'm not like I'm not meant for this. And that could be this case too. Like maybe he just would
really
never be good on commentary. And like that's just the unfortunate truth for him. I don't know. Like we're not there, to like know what they're saying or what their criticisms of him are. We know what ours were, but based on who they have on commentary, it feels like this wasn't a mistake because obviously they have some pretty legendary commentators. But yeah, I hope that he gets to do what he wants to do and like thrive doing whatever he wants to do because he deserves that.
My other lemon is just that I don't care about Edge and AEW. I'm sorry, I just don't really.
I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. The rated R superstar. That's
Is that what they do?
I swear to God, it's the worst. That is also my lemon. It is the worst intro in wrestling. I think it's straight up stupid.
I understand why they are trying to figure out a way around it because obviously he doesn't own it. But like you couldn't have come up with anything else.
I just it's not that I don't care because I don't like him. I love Adam Copeland, but it's something that I'm gonna tune into just because I want to watch wrestling, not because I want to watch him take on this person.
Yeah.
And the Cope Open's great. I think it's just more of a showcase for him rather than highlighting anyone new or whatnot.
Yeah. Well, hence the name. Like you could have. It doesn't have to involve your name.
And like for instance, Griff Garrison, who if the common person probably doesn't know who that is, Varsity Blondes with Lexus King. He was the third member he's the Genetti of the Varsity Blondes because
Lexus King was?
No.
Oh,
Griff Garrison is,
okay. I thought you were saying Lexus King.
No, because you have Lexus King, and then you have Julia Hart.
Well, he was Brian Pillman, but yeah.
It's tomato potato.
Yeah.
And then you have Julia Hart, who went from being the popular cheerleader to, I would say, the face of darkness in the House of Black. It's great that he's doing stuff. It's more of, I think, Tony Khan just being like, "Hey, Edge, I have you on my show. Who do you want to wrestle this week?" And there was a report out that he actually called Tony and was like, "Hey, can we get Suzuki for this match?" And then as soon as they got done with the deal or Tony Khan hung up the phone, it was advertised. So if that's the case, great. Then your AEW fans are going to love that. I'm going to like it. And that's about it. But it's not going to do anything more than that. And I'm just like, okay, I mean, look at what WWE's got going on right now. Look at what's going on in TNA. I mean, that whole program is really evolving and getting back to how they were. I'm all for it. I'm just all for that and not whatever Edge is doing. And I'm gonna keep calling him Edge because it's just like
it would be hard to break that. I mean, it's not like it was only like a few years he was in wrestling. It's like 25 years before he decided that he was going to go by his real name. So it's like, that's hard to just stop calling him that.
It's second nature at this point.
Yeah. I only wanted to mention this briefly, so I'm not getting into the details, obviously, but I just wanted to talk about the Vince McMahon thing, and I only want to say one thing. So, I'm not getting into all the details, but obviously there's a lot of controversy. I'm assuming most people are not surprised. But the thing that, one of the things that I immediately thought about was when the original story was broken and the fact that he made sure to start off Raw, to come out and introduce us to Raw. Like seeing more of the details, it's like it just is so much more disgusting to me. And it's sad because that there was like nobody there to stop him from doing that, because it's like you knew exactly why he was doing it and he was just trying to act like he was immortal, like no one can end him, blah blah blah. And it's like there's plenty of people in the back who were either involved in what he was doing or they knew about it, and none of them could stop him because of who he is. Because it's like, that's embarrassing, guys, that you let him go out there and do that. And then it's like, however many months later, we're now seeing the like nitty gritty details of his disgusting behavior and the fact that he just thought he was invincible, that nothing was going to happen to him. It's like, craziness. Like I said, I just wanted to make sure I touched on it just because I don't want to completely gloss over the fact that that is happening, but I'm not going to talk about it because if you want to look into it and you want to form an opinion, by all means, it's all over the internet. But
go look for yourself.
Yeah, it's just some of the least surprising stuff you will ever hear about Vince McMahon. So,
yeah. I agree, Kervin. I said my piece at the beginning, and I'll leave the peeps with just go check out for yourself.
This is another thing. I hope to God if he was going to be at the Rumble that they say, nope, not happening now. I really, really hope that they do that because I know they didn't name drop him, but there was only 2 guys that could have been that person. And who do we know that was buddies with Vince to the point that he walked out and was a little crybaby about Vince stepping down?
That was the show I was at.
Yeah, so that's what I mean.
That was a wild show.
There's no one else that could mean, right? So it's like, I really hope that it's like, okay, you're not going to show up. Like, you don't need to be in the Royal Rumble right now, you know? Like, I really hope that changes if that was it. Because I thought that, I was thinking it. I was like, maybe he's going to be there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, but I hope not.
Yeah,
I hope not now.
I'd rather see the gobbledygooker resurrect himself over him.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk. We're already talking
also
about
I just want to
said
make sure
Rumble.
We say hi to Denisha. Hey,
what's up? What's going on? How we doing? So yeah, let's talk. We're already talking about said Rumble.
Yes.
All right, we got the said Rumble on Saturday, 8 p.m. Or if you live where Gunther lives, Sunday, 2 a.m. I mean, I love that was another rosebud just going off it. That when he just steered more into the skid with that, I was like, this is my people, unbelievable. But we gotta predict. We gotta make our predictions for the Royal Rumble. It is my favorite time of year, Sarah. I love the Royal Rumble so much. It's the beginning of the road to WrestleMania. It's such a unique event, and it's one of the few things in wrestling where every type of fan can watch it and be in the same boat. You know what I mean? Like there's no it's a match that everyone can enjoy because all they're doing is just throwing each other over the top rope.
Yeah.
And then there's a little bit of the entertainment, sports entertainment factor in there. And then it's just more of that. And then the winner, and it's usually if someone wins a battle royal, it's like, great, you won a trophy or you won this wonder. No, you get to main event the biggest show in the company. It's
I would
such a
say
great
in pro wrestling in general.
It is in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
If Okada wants to headline it, it's the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even mention him.
Well, we talked about him, but we had people in the comments telling me that he doesn't need to come to WWE. So I was like, oh, okay.
He does. So
yeah.
It's not even close. Let's just kick it off with something that happened today too. That was other news.
Yeah.
We had a brawl.
But it's just it would be fun if it was real, you know.
Yeah, we had a brawl.
Yeah.
Still, great way to hype up the match though.
Yeah, I assume just based on I don't know, my gut feeling, Logan Paul is going to win. It would be pretty sick because remember Rey Mysterio was saying that he was hoping that he could come back for the Rumble. How sick would it be if Rey Mysterio made sure that Logan Paul lost because of how he lost the US title?
Ooh. That'd be some long-term storytelling.
That could be a big match, Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
I do want to see Logan Paul versus LA Knight though.
I know. So I mean, my gut tells me it's going to be Logan Paul just because they're probably going to want him to have the US title until WrestleMania. I don't know that I'm not like 100% on board with Logan winning. Like, I don't know that like, I don't feel confident that that's for sure going to happen. But there's just like, there's my gut feeling is like, yeah, Logan's winning. And it's like he kind of has to, right? Because it's like he hasn't even defended the title once. And so you're going to have him defend the title at one of the big four, and his first title defense, he loses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, to me, he's not a guy that like loses credibility because of that, though, because he's not a regular, because he doesn't have a background in wrestling. He doesn't get that same reaction. If someone else was in that position and they took, 3 months off basically, and then their first title defense they lose, that would hurt them, but it wouldn't hurt Logan. But I still think he's winning, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm actually getting our predictions in my phone here, my notes app. So you got Logan, and Sarah, I also have Logan for the same reasons basically that you said. There's no way you take the title off him before he goes into WrestleMania 40, one of the biggest sensations in the world right now. All eyes on your product. Yeah, you got to think from a business standpoint, Logan Paul is winning that. I just don't want them to do it in a way where it makes KO look weak.
Yeah,
like maybe get him with the punch, and like that's fine. Then,
but even that though, the punch doesn't, like, come on though. Like, he also already punched Kevin, and Kevin got right back up, so that wouldn't be believable. It would have to be like he was gonna have to cheat and use the brass knuckles again. But then that's still, to me, that's like unfinished business, And so I feel like it has to be final. Like, there can't really be a way for this to feel unfinished, because that's how it feels with Rey. Because Rey Mysterio already said the second he comes back, he wants to go after that U.S. title. So I don't know. I mean, it could be something. What if it became like a fatal 4-way at Mania or something? Like Logan puts the title on the line against Rey Mysterio, Kevin Owens, and like LA Knight or something. I don't know. Yeah,
they do need multi-man matches at Mania. I don't hate that. Hate that.
And I mean, I don't love it for LA Knight, but I don't hate it for it to be his first Mania. You know what I mean? Like, if he also were to beat those guys, like, that's pretty cool for a first Mania. Like, I get that you want him to have a singles match, and of course I would prefer that. But I mean, if that's going to be his first ever Mania match, I can't really complain, especially if he were to win the title, I just don't know how they get from point A to point B, because he's obviously not at all involved with anything to do with Logan right now. So
they had those couple interactions beforehand, but that was really it.
Yeah,
I could see that. I like to revisit that fatal 4-way theory. Okay, let's put that in the filing cabinet.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes on Saturday.
I like that theory. Do you have any comments here? See there, you know what, Kervin?
Yeah,
you just took our idea and elevated it. See what I did there with ladders?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you need a ladder match at Mania, and
I've never seen a ladder match in person. I've seen The Rock, so that's fine. I have one up on you. I've seen The Rock, so I didn't see The Rock wrestle. I saw The Rock come out and talk in the ring and like whatever, but still,
that's still seeing The Rock. I don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just had to clarify. I have not seen him wrestle. It was during the him versus John Cena thing where they were like insulting each other every week on TV and whatever. That was when I saw him. So,
all right. Women's Royal Rumble match.
Bailey.
Yeah, this is gonna be pretty quick.
Yeah,
it's gonna be. I'm sorry, but
I feel like we've talked about this for so long. We've said this. I don't even know how. I wish I would have written it down or something when we first talked about how we thought that this was going to be the result of that match, because then I could say, well, we've been saying this forever, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like everything is just in order right now. It only makes sense for Bailey to win. And then she's saying these things. Like, I saw something about her saying that like this Mania and stuff, like this Mania season is where she kind of wants to like cement her legacy and whatever. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So that means you need to win the Royal Rumble, and you need to have a big match at Mania and have your Mania moment, just like all the other girls have had. So, I think I'll be thoroughly disappointed if it's not Bayley. You know, like there are girls that I like Becky and Rhea. Obviously, Rhea's not winning, but I'm just meaning like there are other girls in the match that I'll be excited to see, especially because, you know, there's rumors of possible returns and debuts. And it's like, yeah, that's exciting. But I just feel like this is Bayley's moment. And the storylines that can come out of Bayley winning the Rumble are just like so like far too good for them to pass up on.
It makes too much sense. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the people teased for the Rumble, Nia Jax, no, not happening. They would not in the way they're booking her and having her right now. There's Becky Lynch. I swear to God, if Becky Lynch wins, there's no need for her to win and still have a title match at Mania. It only makes sense for Bayley to be the winner. And with how things are going in Damage Control, having her on both shows, there's so much there that kind of just shows you that they're priming her to be the Rumble winner. You don't have the potential Rumble winner be showing up on both shows. She's the only woman right now, I would say, with a storyline that's actually kind of centered around winning the Rumble. Everyone else is just like, I'm going to do this, this, and that, and it's going to take me to win the Rumble. You know what I mean? Like it's Bayley for her. It's like a redemption.
Yeah. And almost like validation.
That's,
you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's the thing is like, you know, I've cut videos on this and some people were responding in the comments acting as if it's like we want to see her booted from Damage Control or like we want Damage Control to end, and it's like it's not it's more so of Bayley becoming like who she deserves to be in WWE. Like, and this would be the launching point for that to win the Rumble. And this would be like one of the biggest women's storylines in the company for her to have put this group together, have been kind of shaded by them for several months at this point. Then they're trying to manipulate her into choosing a certain person. She decides to go against that and, you know, go against her friend. And it's like, it's so compelling and it's relatable, you know, because like I think that everybody can unfortunately sympathize with her and have probably gone through similar situations with their friends. So I think that it is her time. We've seen Sasha have her moment at Mania. Charlotte's had her moment. Bianca, Becky, like they've all had their moment, and Bayley hasn't really yet. So I feel like this is the time. Like do it.
Curvin Bayley because only horsewomen to not get a singles match. They treat Bayley like a jobber. Plus, for Damage Control story, she makes them lose, seems weak link, then get axed from the group. That they're teasing that, and that makes it so that the Rumble win will be that much sweeter. You know, that she's really not the weak link, but then they're gonna not see her as a weak link. They're gonna see her as a threat. You know, because they haven't putting her down, and she won the Rumble. And they think it's like, you know, it's all the little stuff like that.
And the easy way for them to get rid of her is by having her challenge Rhea.
Ship her to Raw.
Yeah, thinking that, okay, she might be able to beat Rhea. And if she does, then she's on Raw. But if she doesn't, then we can say like, oh, you're the weak link. Like you couldn't even win the title. What about all of us having gold, blah, blah, blah. So like there's certain things that they can go with. And I would really like to see her challenge Io.
Bayley runner-up is Liv Morgan, then Bianca. Oh, that'd be a nice 3. Who's the 4th, though? That's the whole thing, the Rumble Final Fours. I would like Asuka or Kairi Sane. Need another Damage Control member in there.
Maybe, yeah.
Because then like maybe she eliminates them by accident. Maybe she wants to eliminate. Like, there's another little... Oh, no. Well... You're right, because it's probably what's going to happen, but that's just bland. I understand what you're doing, but I like my way better. I don't hate that, but I like mine better.
It could be one of those things too, where they all have to like gang up on her. You know what I mean?
To get her out of the ring.
Did you really just burp?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you just like burped and then just like kept going. I was going to be like, really?
That would have been impressive.
No, that would have been gross.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it would have been impressive that just kept going in that. Never mind. Moving. if don't win, I want my refund. Yeah, get that $9.99 from Peacock.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'll be really disappointed if it's not Bailey. You know, like I think that I've been so set on it being Bailey for so long now that I will be very disappointed if it's not her. So
would you be less disappointed if it was like Liv Morgan?
Yeah, I would be disappointed if it was Liv.
I said less.
No, I'd be more disappointed.
Really?
If Liv won, yeah, I would be upset because I don't want Liv to win. I want Bailey to win.
It doesn't make sense for Liv to win. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I would be more disappointed if Liv won. I love Liv and I would love to see her back. And if she comes back at the Rumble, that's awesome. I just don't. She's not been around, so it's like it wouldn't make sense for her to win because it's like no one would be excited because it's like, well, where is she going to go from here? I don't know. Like
it'll be like Daniel Bryan or Daniel Bryan 2016 whenever Bray eliminated him, and then it'll be like what's his face in 24 CM Punk.
Yeah.
When Blue T still won it. All right, we got Bailey in for our picks. Moving on to, I would say, the second main event. You seem thrilled.
Well, because I was just like, I know that I'm not gonna like whoever wins this match. I know that I'm not gonna like it, so that's why it's like I just am like, I love the Royal Rumble, and it has been historically like my favorite pay-per-view of the year, but the fact that it could be, Cody Rhodes, I love Cody Rhodes. I just don't want him to win the Rumble again. I don't want that to be how he gets against Roman again. I want it to be more interesting. And then other possibilities, it's like CM Punk. Like, I'm not into it. I'm not into it. So it's like it's hard for me to be excited about it because I just the people that most people think are the front runners to win are not people that I want to see win. So that's why it's like really hard for me to look forward to this.
I kind of agree. I would just say I would like CM Punk to win.
I just don't know why CM Punk needs to be handed everything the second that he comes back. I don't get it, but
main event attraction. That is why.
They don't have to have a main event this year. We've already had this conversation. So
he doesn't have to. Well, I think we have, but
if Cody's had to wait 2 years to become champion and it could potentially have to wait another year, then why does CM Punk get to come back and then like 3 months later he gets to get everything he wants? I don't understand that. I don't get it.
The crowd loves him.
There are people who don't.
There are people who don't.
Yeah,
I totally agree. But if you listen to the crowd, it's constant CM Punk chants.
Yeah, it's because they're like a cult follower. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's the cult of personality.
Punk should not have this many diehard fans when he turned their back on them. But to each their own. I guess my fave would never, but that's okay.
You know what? You're attacking.
I don't like CM Punk. I've not hidden
that.
I
was saying the fans. No, I was.
Oh yeah, the fans. Yeah, you guys are wild. I just could never do it. But I think that it's probably going to be Punk. I don't love it, but it would make sense if they're trying to keep Seth from wrestling until Mania. Okay, well, having a match against a part-timer who's not wrestled on TV yet, that would make sense. I guess, like he's not there every single week. He's not wrestling every single week. So at least it would be equal and we wouldn't have to be like, oh, Seth's not here again. Like, that's so lame. It's like, okay, well, I mean, he's only gearing up to be facing CM Punk anyway. So it's like, it's fine, I guess, if he's not around. Like I would be more okay with that than if it was like Drew who won. You know what I mean?
Oh, that was my next question. Would you be happier if Drew won?
Yes.
Okay.
1,000%. But because this is a thing, I don't want them to let Drew leave. Do not let Drew leave. Like, it would be such a huge mistake for this dude to be doing his best work, probably of his WWE career. And you guys are so hell-bent on handing everything to CM Punk that you'd rather watch Drew McIntyre walk out and go and be successful again as Drew Galloway in TNA than just extend him and just give him a little bit of what he deserves, because he's been busting his ass since he came back. But who am I? I don't do contracts. So
Feisty.
that's just what I'm saying. I just don't get it. I just don't
Tell me
get
when
it.
I'm telling lies.
Yeah, exactly. Except for don't tell me I'm wrong.
Don't tell me I'm wrong. I like
No.
that for you.
Yeah.
Drew Galloway is all elite. All right, so I got you in right now as CM Punk, but wants Drew to win the Rumble.
I mean, if I had to, I mean,
I'm not.
I wouldn't be upset if Gunther won. Obviously, I've been saying that for months that I wanted Gunther to win, and that was because that was before CM Punk came back. So, I would love for him to be the Intercontinental Champion and the #1 contender for a Mania match. Like, that would be sick. So, and imagine him being a double champion. Imagine him being Intercontinental and World Heavyweight Champion. Like, oh my God, my heart would be so happy. I'd be like the only one at Mania, like, yeah. Everyone else is like, no. And I'm like the only one like crying, like, that's my heavyweight champion.
That's my World Heavyweight Champion.
Gunther. That would be me. I mean, we got a tease of that. So
we did.
And then again, I guess I would kind of play into being okay for Seth to not be there, because it's like, okay, well, technically Gunther's still champion, so it's like he has other things that he could be doing. So I mean, I guess that would be fine, but I feel like they didn't tease Rollins versus Punk for no reason. And it feels like they have to kind of like cash in on that right now and not hold off for a year. The only reason I would think that they might is because of the uncertainty around Seth's health.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he already declared that he's not leaving. So if he has literally no intention of like missing WrestleMania, then I feel like, okay, well, you're going to have to do it then. Like,
oh, you have to. That's why he's not missing Mania.
Yeah. So that's why it feels like it's going to have to be Punk. But yeah, so.
And then for the last one, it's kind of boring. Let me get the hold on. It is a boring one. I'm sorry. It is a boring predictions because it's just the writing seems to be on the wall, and there's only 4 matches. We got Roman versus Randy versus AJ versus LA Knight. Yeah. For the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Fatal 4-Way. I'm just going to say Roman.
Yeah.
It's not even, yeah.
Roman's going to win, and it's going to be with some BS, whether it's from help, from Solo and or Jimmy. Something's going to happen. It's like what I think, like Cody's not going to win the Rumble, and I wouldn't be surprised if like Solo and Jimmy are out there or something. They get eliminated. Maybe Cody eliminates them. Then they eliminate him after they've already been eliminated. So that kind of like sets it up for like Nick Aldis to be like, no, you can't be doing that just because your tribal chief doesn't want to face Cody at Mania, blah, blah, blah. And then this is their way of like helping him even more. Obviously, Roman hasn't won a match clean in I think my entire life. So it's been 30 something years since he's won a clean match. So I don't expect that to be the case on this either.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be clean. I think it's going to be Roman. So, my mind goes to, what's next for AJ Styles, Randy Orton, LA Knight.
AJ Styles versus LA Knight at WrestleMania.
That would slap so hard.
Maybe would love
that US title match.
I don't even think they needed it to have a title match. AJ Styles versus LA Knight would be sick on its own. And it's something that could continue because like whatever, there could be drama from this. Like we've talked about where Roman wins obviously via help. And then it sets it up for them to have like an elimination chamber match. Assuming that Punk wins the Rumble. So that means that Roman doesn't have an opponent for Mania. But all of this is like, nah, you're having a match and we're going to figure out the #1 contender via elimination chamber. So that's another way that it could continue between LA Knight and AJ Styles, and then it could boil over at WrestleMania, which again, I would love that for LA Knight. Your first WrestleMania match ever being against one of the greatest ever. Like that's
TNA wins again.
I could not be mad, you know? So that would be great.
Goddamn Dixie Carter taking over WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be
No,
mad.
I need to see it. As long as we see AJ Styles and LA Knight at WrestleMania in some capacity, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I need to like
more than okay with it.
I need to dance to
So when that happens,
AJ Styles.
What happens to our good pal Randy?
See, that's the thing. I'm not concerned about Randy. Is Randy freaking Orton?
Either.
Like I don't have concerns about what happens with him. Like I really don't know, because everything that he's been doing since he came back obviously was with the bloodline, rightfully so. It made sense. It was why he was gone, right, for 18 months. And I mean, I guess he could be in this too. I don't really love the idea of it being like a triple threat at Mania, because I feel like they don't really have beef with Randy. You know, like it's definitely been hyped between AJ and LA.
Oh,
so it's
1,000%.
I don't know what Randy could do. Like I don't know, but like I said, I'm not really concerned. Like they'll figure it out, you know, because it's Randy Orton. So
yeah, if anyone remembers the contract signing, it was LA Knight and AJ Styles that took over that. Randy was in the background, and rightfully so. Even he would have agreed with you. The Randy Orton, I'd be more concerned if I didn't think he'd be at WrestleMania. But it's Randy Orton. He already came back. Like, I'm sorry. Randy Orton's not missing WrestleMania.
Maybe he goes against like Solo or something. Like, what if it's like Solo is the one that like helps Roman win, but he has to do it by doing something to Randy. Because Solo was part of the whole reason why he was injured. Yeah, he was, you know, so it's like that gets Solo on the card too. I mean, Cena was against Solo, so Randy's not too good to be against Solo. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something too, because then it's also like there's thoughts about it being Jay versus Jimmy. So it's like I can't pick Jimmy to go against Randy, because if it is going to be brother versus brother, then I'd much rather see that at this point than Randy versus Jimmy. So I could see Randy versus Solo.
That would be fine. Mania match.
And I mean, Randy's at that point in his career where he doesn't need to be in a title match at Mania. He doesn't need to be against the rival top guy. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't care. He's having fun. He's just happy that he's able to actually like be back and be wrestling, because there were months where there were so many reports that doctors were telling him he was going to have to retire. And although we don't know the complete validity of it, his dad hinted at it as well. So I think he's just like, I'm here for the ride. I'll do whatever. Like, so I think that could happen. Yeah, he's just happy to be there. So
that's all. I agree. I agree with that. I remember Randy Orton interviews said Randy wants to face Cena at WrestleMania. I could see it happening in the future. Absolutely.
Yeah, he said that when he was in that interview with Kayla Braxton. He said that they've never faced each other in a singles match again at Mania. So I'm like, can we let that be Cena's retirement match?
I think it's only
the two pillars, the two pillars of wrestling for the past 20-something years.
Best rivalry in 2008 to 2010. Absolutely.
Yeah, like that is a retirement match that I would be way more behind. And I feel like Cena deserves to have that be it. Like I understand he doesn't want like a big send off. But and I get it. He's the type of guy that like, he wants to put people over. That's what he's been doing the last couple of years that he's been coming back. But come on, like people were so upset about Baron Corbin being Kurt Angle's last match. Like, I don't want to see like John Cena get like a Baron Corbin final match. You know what I mean?
He's better than Baron Corbin.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I would much rather see Randy versus Cena. That's the final thing. Like, that would be, because it would be like a Undertaker, Shawn Michaels type of thing. Where it was like just two friends battling it out, knowing it was the end.
Yeah, I like this.
I like Nick Aldis versus Roman Reigns. But
that's coming. That's coming. Magnus versus the big dog.
I wouldn't hate seeing Nick Aldis versus Randy Orton this year, but I just don't know how we get there because he's definitely feuding with Roman. So I would rather see that first.
Yes.
Honestly.
Makes sense. Okay.
What if we get Mickie James again as a surprise entrant?
I could see that. Her contract's up, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, she's not.
Well, now her hubby is around, so she's like, she should be around.
I know, she wants to be with her hubby.
Come back, queen.
Come back to WWE.
And I want to hear Hardcore Country. Yeah, that was incredible. I still don't really understand how, of all people, Vince McMahon allowed that to happen.
But I know. The Forbidden Door is a crazy place.
I'm not complaining though.
Not complaining at all. All right, it's time for the 1, 2, 3 count. Starting things off, it's the Royal Rumble pool. All right, picking our numbers. We're doing this. We got the Royal Rumble pool. Sarah and I will be in with a couple of my friends and two peeps. 2 peeps here in the chat. We got David and Bernard. So shout out to you guys for joining this year. Really appreciate it. And you had your chance. I said it on the Raw Rewind. All you had to do.
Are you doing numbers right? You're not doing numbers right now, right? Or are you?
I feel like it would take too much time. I
was gonna say don't do it right now.
I will, but we got it. But we're teasing it. It's happening. I will do the numbers after I got it because we're double booked here. I mean, you see my patch shirt here. We're going live, not live, but the video tomorrow. And we're overtime. So that, and then I just had to bring this up too. Sorry, too. Did you see Big E's comment about? Oh yeah, you sent it to me. No, I sent it to you.
Yes, but yeah, so I saw it.
Yeah, sorry. Big E went on the bump today with his fellow New Day brethren and said that he wants to see Meaty Men Mania, where it's just the biggest dudes, your Ivars, your Bronson Reeds, your Omases, just getting in there and just slapping meat around. And I'm not gonna lie, I think you need to have that at WrestleMania 40 and just call it the showcase of meat.
I would be fine with it because it would be just in fun. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be a match where it's like it's supposed to be super serious and Vince McMahon is like, no, it's because I love these guys. It's like, no, it's because these guys are talented, but they also happen to be big. And like it would actually be a match that you would want to watch. Whereas if it was like 15 years ago, you'd be like, because it's like
Body Slam.
Well, it's like the Great Khali versus the Big Show. Like, no thanks. No thanks, brother. I don't want to see that. But this would be a match I'd love to see.
I would as well. I really would. And then 3. I don't know, Sarah. The Spotify theory, might be at it again. It was not only announced, it was leaked that Sasha Banks's entrance is now on Spotify.
And hers and Trinity's together when they were, Naomi's when they were a tag team. So.
And the last time Spotify did this, Living Color remastered CM Punk's current theme song. And they released it, I think, a week. I think a week before it happened. And yeah, you go.
There's been other times that it's happened too. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, Spotify tends to be a spoiler for potential or upcoming returns. So if we're supposed to believe and follow the trend of how it's gone in the past, then all signs point to potentially Sasha Banks and Naomi returning at the Royal Rumble. Which I know that a lot of people have speculated about. And a lot of stuff has been quiet about both of them since like there was that 1 week a few weeks ago where they were like at the center of all speculation. It was like, oh, Trinity's contract is up at the end of the month. And Mercedes is here and she's going to do this, blah, blah, blah. Like it was everywhere. And then since then it's been very quiet. And so to me, it feels like, okay, something's probably done and people are just trying to keep it hush hush, but Spotify might have ruined the surprise. So we don't know. We'll have to see. But as I said, they have been correct in the past. And the most recent example, as you said, was CM Punk. So this doesn't feel like a coincidence, is all I should say, I guess.
It is. It is not a coincidence by any means. And that's all we got. All right, that's all we got today. We got
I will say, yeah.
Back.
We were saying that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. That would be cool.
That would be cool. We thank you guys for tuning into this edition of Pits and Sarah's Wrestling Show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we post, not only when we do our live streams, but the videos that Sarah so graciously cuts up and puts out for y'all. We're trying to grow that number up. What's that number at? We are at yeah! 1,500 subscribers live on the show. Thank you all for helping us reach that milestone. That's only, a great step in where we're going. And we wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. So we really appreciate all that and continue the support by following us on all social media platforms. Links are in the description below. And we'll be back probably there's no SmackDown breakdown. Okay.
I know.
There's not.
I had scheduled it because I totally forgot. And so
I did too until
I moved it.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, okay, cool. And then no SmackDown breakdown. All right. It's the Royal Rumble on Saturday. And then probably Sunday. We'll figure it out. Here's the thing. That's why you got to follow us on social media to know we go live for our recap, because it could be that night, it could be Sunday. You gotta find out by following us and getting the news there. All right, that's all we got. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you gotta do is try. See you Saturday.